Understand that CBN is implementing the restructuring, reorganizing, and the early exit program. I don't know whether the CBN governor can explain or brief this committee the objectives of the restructuring, reorganizing, and the early exit program to this committee. And two, can you explain the early exit program and what you intend to achieve with it? When it starts, when it will end, and what is the connection between the reorganization, restructuring, and the early exit program?
And the restructuring as well as reorganization, and I'll add a third one, realignment. These are basically ways and means through which the performance of an organization is optimized by ensuring that round pegs are put in right holes. The manpower requirement of the bank is actually met. The man loading, which is the key responsibilities, key performance indicators of the bank, vis-a-vis the number of people driving the performance of that bank, is at a level where it's optimum, balancing the human resource requirement, the capital requirement, the skill requirement, as well as the IT requirement of the bank. You are very much aware, Chairman, the entire world is going through a process of digitizing its operations. And then once that is done, a lot of opportunities are created, just like a lot of redundancies are also equally created. And you have had instances in which, in the past, the request for staff to actually exit the bank voluntarily actually emanated on the part of the staff. And I believe Central Bank is not necessarily the first organization to have done that. I'm very happy to mention, Mr. Chairman, sir, and members of the committee, the early exit program of the Central Bank is 100% voluntary. It's not mandatory. Nobody has been asked to leave, and nobody has been forced to leave. It's a completely voluntary program that has been put in place. I believe several organizations across the world and even within this country, both in terms of the private sector and the public sector, has undertaken similar exercises. So nobody has been asked to leave, but people were, based on popular demand. I want to be humble, with a lot of humility, to tell you that this same program that is taking place is not at the instance of the bank itself. It's actually, of course, we have our own challenges and we know where we want to take the bank to. That's Cardoso and his team, myself inclusive. But this popular request actually came from the staff. In the past, you have had instances in which cases of stagnation and lack of career progression appears. I mean, in an organization, you've got a pyramid where from each level to the next level, the gap keeps narrowing. If not, you are going to have like a Kwashiorkor organization, inverted pyramid. It doesn't work. It gets to the level where you have, for example, 30 departments in the central bank. You cannot have 60 directors manning 30 departments. It's not going to work. So once those vacancies are filled, it gets to a level where some people, even though they are very qualified, they are very able and they are very willing, but the vacancies are not there. And then they got to a level where they are stagnated for a period of time. There are several instances in which similar exercise took place in the central bank, which has happened severally. This is not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time, severally. You've had instances in which people at the top request that, look, it's going to take me X number of years to actually aspire to become a director in an organization, but right now there's no vacancy, and the person sitting next to me probably has 8 years to go. Meanwhile, I have 7, so there's no career growth, and a lot of opportunities are out there. For example, among the people that have left, there are like 3 or 4 people who are going to set up a bank. The approach that we told them, literally, anything you want to do, if you need the support of the central bank, you are done. So the popular demand then was at the top, people that are stagnated, people that don't have any career progression any longer, they have reached their peak, and they are willing to go and take other risks before they get to an age where they become scared to take risks. Those programs are actually put in place to ensure that those people are given an opportunity to actually, exit to go and start other things with their lives. But in this particular case, based on popular request, and I came with the union leader of the bank, the staff requested that in this case, similar opportunity should be extended to other categories of staff. In the entire system, in the entire period, in the entire time that similar exercise has taken place, it's only people within a certain cadre, within the director cadre, either deputy director, directors who feel they want to go and start some other things, and assistant directors are given. But for the first time in the over 60 years history of the bank, the early exit program is extended to everybody who is actually willing to take it. And this came at the instance of the staff. So it's not mandatory, it's not compulsory, there's no coercion, there's no forceful exit, and there's no intimidation for anybody to take it. In fact, when this same thing has been was approved by the bank, and it was open, the number of staff that actually came forward to take it was even very amazing. Like I told you, there are some other people that are even thinking of going to start up a bank. So if the impression comes to this place that we are laying off, nobody is going to do is laying off anybody. Nobody did. It's an entirely voluntary exercise on the part of the bank. Those who want to take it, took it, and those who don't want to take it are still in the bank. So I want to stop at that level. For organization restructuring and added realignment, these are basically, it all depends on how you want to describe an elephant. Whether you want to describe as a snake that has a long tail, or whether you want to describe as a rock because you are touching the body, or whether you want to describe it as a knife because you are touching the hunk. They technically mean the same thing. It's all about optimization and making sure that the organization vision and mission is aligned with the manpower requirement, considering the man loading. The man loading is how many people does it take to do a particular job and how many hours do you need to put. For example, if you are going to spend 40 hours and you have like 10 people to do 2 jobs, well, it doesn't hurt anybody. These are Nigerians. If they're there, they don't hurt anybody. But there are people who are actually voracious, they want to do more. These are the people who feel that if you have this opportunity, we can go and start other things. And it was absolutely voluntary, and you can cut me anytime, anywhere, and that's what it is. Nobody has been forced to leave, nobody has been intimidated to leave, nobody has been stampeded into leaving at all. It's strictly voluntary. If nobody had taken it, we would have just closed it. But this came as a result of popular demand. Like I said, I came with a representative of the staff union to actually say it here.
Thank you.
So I'll stop there.
What is the connection between...
are actually different. Whereas the exercise that you are mentioning, nobody was actually terminated or dismissed. People were retired with their full benefits for us to have opportunities to reinvigorate and bring in new blood or new perspectives to how things are done. So that was at the instance of the bank, people were actually retired with their full benefits. This one that is taking place or has taken place now, because it's actually closed by end of the year, which is just on Tuesday, is strictly voluntary. So there are 2 different things altogether. But if you take the 2 together and you juxtapose it within the context of the overall strategy to streamline the operations of the bank, to refocus the operation of the bank, to reinvigorate the operation of the bank, to re-energize the operation of the bank, you can take the 2 together as leading to the same objective. Whereas one, people were retired with their full benefits. Okay? The other was actually absolutely, voluntary.
Okay.